guide, direct us all that we do, Lord. Help us make decisions that are in the best interest of this community. We ask these things in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll call the October 15th, 2024 meeting of the Newcastle Public Works Authority to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl Nell.
Here.
Mike Fullerton.
Here.
Jean Reed. Absent. Kimberly Sutton. Absent. Marcy White. Here.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action on approval of the agenda.
Make a motion for the agenda. I made a motion.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 3, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any citizen to comment on any matter related to the City of Newcastle Public Works that is not on the agenda. Reminding the potential speakers that all speakers are clear to state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only one speaking opportunity. Board members will not respond to comments or questions. The chair may end comment period at his discretion, and prior authorization is required for distribution of materials or to approach the board. Is there any public comment concerning Newcastle Public Works that is not on the agenda? Your item is on the agenda?
No.
Okay, then please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record.
I'm Nancy Dozier Schaefer, and I live at 200 Southeast 4th Street, Newcastle. And I'm here. I had gotten a water bill. My previous bill was like $175, and it was high because we had a leak in the bathrooms, you know, where the toilet runs. And I showed a bill, and they said they'd give me credit, which they did. But my next bill I got was like $256.25. And when I investigated, there was 2 or 3 different crews working in the backyard, and they had used my water. They had asked permission, my husband, when I wasn't there, to use the water. And that day it was shut off, but we had left Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back Monday. That was over Labor Day weekend, I think. Anyways, the water, I went out in the backyard and the yard was full of water. So I tried to find out who might have left it on. And I wasn't able to. There was 3 different crews out there. And so, anyways, I'm coming here to, I talked to the water department. They said I could come here, dispute it, or?
You can, but you must be on the agenda for us to take any action on the item.
Okay.
We have several on the agenda this evening, but I do not see yours on the agenda.
No.
So you will have to be put on next month's agenda.
That's fine.
Because if it's not an agenda item, we are unable to take any action to provide any potential relief to you.
Okay. Well, I've never done this.
Yes.
This
So,
is a learning experience.
get with our city clerk, and she will make sure, give her a call and make sure that you get on next month's agenda. And then you can come and explain this all to us, and we can address it at that time.
Great. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments related to Public Works? All right. Item number 4 is the consent agenda. Is there any item any member of the board requests to be removed and addressed individually? Seeing none, item number 4, consent agenda.
Make a motion for the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes. Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 5, discussion with possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. Be no action on that agenda item. Item number 6, discussion with possible action on adjustment of utility accounts. Account number 6A, item number 6A, account number 02-1783-01. At service address at 2977 Northwest 33rd Street. Andrea Myers. Ms. Myers, our representative this evening. Please approach the podium.
So we had a $617 water bill, and I had a $5,000 repair, and I have all those forms here, so I can get a credit though.
Have you provided a copy of those bills?
I've got it all right here with me, and I don't know if I sent it to because I'm on the agenda, I don't know if I've got the forms to you guys.
I don't know if you would have had to turn them into data, but I can take them.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I've been working on it. I was supposed to be here last month, but I ended up at the school board meeting instead, so I'm not, and I've talked to them.
You can just give those to Camille, but you have got that fixed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Well, then I'll make a motion to adjust the utility account to the average of the prior 12 months.
Okay.
Motion second for adjustment of the account.
Specific month or?
Well, I'm sorry, the high month, which would be, looks like the July.
I got it right
Yeah,
here.
July bill, 69,000 consumption bill.
So I just filled out paperwork.
Yes.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl Nell.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Item number 6B, account number 02-1110-00, and service address of 1209 Northwest 36th Street, Clyde Steen. Mr. Steen, a representative?
Yeah, I had a high water bill also, but we had a water leak. I called Vita, the water department, and she said to get it fixed, and she'd put our automatic deduct on hold. So I'll come up here. I didn't know I had to come up here. I've been here 34 years. I've never been to city council.
Do you know when the leak started, Clyde?
I think it was in June, somewhere in there.
Okay.
It's like $475 a month. It's usually about anywhere from 100, 150 somewhere there.
It's kind of hard to tell. You had a pretty high bill in May, and then it's been high all the way through. But you had some really high bills last August and September as well. So, but when did you repair it?
Right after I talked to you, right after the $475 a month.
Did you have records of the repairs at the date on it?
I fixed it myself, and I give Vita where I bought the stuff to fix it with.
Okay, you know when that was? Okay.
It's just one bill that it was high?
You know, there was one real high, and then Vita said there'd be another one because, either a month or whatever.
So your May bill was a consumption of 39,000. Your June was a consumption of 22,000. Your July was a consumption of 59,000.
That's when it started.
August was consumption of 53,000, and then it was back down to 22,000. So, I'll make a motion to adjust the July and August bills to the average of the prior 12 months.
Second.
Motion second for adjusting the utility account.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl Nell.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Item number 6C, account number 01-1023-00, at service address of 1208 Eunice Avenue, Fort Markham.
Yes, sir. Had a leak under the slab on my water, and it took us a couple of months, I think, actually, before we even knew. Wasn't coming up through the slab, wasn't coming up outside, nothing. We just, got the high water bill, and then called in a plumber. I don't know, after we found isolated where it was leaking at, on July the 2nd, we had it repaired. And I've got receipts from the repair bill and what he did and all that.
Okay, if you can provide those receipts to Camille, and it's like you had 3 high months here, so I'll make a motion to adjust the June, July, and August bills to the average of the prior 12 months.
Second.
Motion second for adjusting the utility account.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl Nell.
Yes. You just provide those receipts
Yes.
to Neil, and she will take care of it.
I didn't give you any trouble. No good with that.
You need your parts list or just.
I'll take it all.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Hope you have a good evening. Item number 60, account number 12-3321-02, at service address of 1321 Bush Drive, Cheryl Bulmer. Ms. Bulmer or representative this evening. Cheryl Bulmer or representative. Make a motion to continue this item to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Motion second for continuance.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Carl?
Yes. Item number 60, account number 02-4920-01, at service address of 2064 Northwest 37th Street. Mayor Solis.
I'm the husband.
Okay. Just please state your name for the record.
Jose Solis.
Okay.
And same thing as the water bill. Had several high water bills, I believe starting in June, July. I left Newcastle and NPWA in June, and sprinkler system was turned on, and I left, and then all of a sudden my wife called and says, "Hey, we got a $400-something water bill." I think it was in August. I was like, "Probably the water sprinkler system. Can you turn it off?" And I'll come back and check it. And sure enough, Gopher had taken out one of the sprinkler lines. So had a company come and fix it, and provided that receipt to Vita, and she said she would put us on the docket for review and adjustment of, I'm not sure what my wife said, but 3 or something months.
It looks like we've got 3 high months here, so I'll make a motion to adjust the July, August, and September bill to the average of prior 12 months.
Okay.
Motion second for adjustment.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Carl?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you guys.
Item number 7, discussion and possible action on adoption of resolution number 2024-02, increasing solid waste removal fees.
October 1 of this year, Republic Services increased their fees to the city by 5.3%. I believe last year it was increased by 3%. Excuse me. Last year, the city did not increase municipal fees, waste fees to the customer. We did some calculations on this one, myself and Vita at the water department, and it appears that the city, we should go ahead and increase our fees equal to the 5.3% to remain where we're at. If we don't increase, we're going to be basically going in the hole on what we're paying out in our wages to take care of this, what we're paying out in mailings, things of that nature is costing the city.
So our contract with the public allows them to do a cost of living increase annually.
CPI, yeah.
Okay.
What would you say was last year, 3.1?
Yeah, last year was 3%.
Just 3%.
This year was 5.3.
Okay, just wanted to know, so got a question, I could say, but we didn't increase it last year.
No, we did not.
It's been several years before we increased our.
We have not done an increase on refuse in quite some time.
Okay, well.
Basically, this will take a residential rate from $13.50 to $14.21 for one cart.
When do we review that again?
They usually do their increases every October when they're going to do it.
I said that one. How long are they contracted through before we shop it again?
I believe we have 2 years left on the
2 years
contract.
left. Okay. I was just curious. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 7 to increase the pass along the 5.3% increase from Republic.
I'll second. Motion second for approval of item 7.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Marcy White? Carl?
Yes. Item number 8, discussion and possible action on approval of change order number 2 from Jag Underground LLC for new sanitary sewer system effluent line for a net out of $58,513.
And this item has to do with, excuse me, with some bores that they're doing. There's elimination one elimination of a board where they're going to, well, because the route changed, it's going down, Northeast 16th now on the south side rather than crossing 16th and then going to the east. But it still added, 58 to our cost on this, 58,000.
It's probably, I guess, 61 dozen, is it better that it doesn't go under the road there?
Well, it can't. It can't cross 16th where it's at because of all the utilities. Fiber lines, phone lines, just a number of things. And then there's another fiber line they said they found over there that wasn't located to begin with. So an extra line that we discovered, or JAG did, luckily didn't tear it up, but it wasn't found during the locate when they first started this. So JAG requested to stay on the south side of 16th, cross Portland, and then once they get toward the east a little bit, they were supposed to go ahead and cross back over to the north side. Now with the new route, and where the right-of-way is laying out, it may actually stay on the south side all the way.
Just feel to work on it better than tear it out.
Yeah.
That was my only thought then. And don't mess with my fiber in that line. I'm all about preserving that fiber. All right, I'll make a motion to approve agenda item 8.
I'll second.
Motion second for approval of item number 8.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Carl Ness?
Yes. Item number 9, discussion of possible action on approval of change order number 3 for Matthews Trenching Company for State Highway 76 waterline relocation for a net out of $19,500.
This has to do with a 6-inch line that was at 24th, located at 24th and 76, that was actually running back south, serving one house on the west side of the road. This line is going to be eliminated and a new service will be connected to the 12-inch once that's in place. Excuse me, that 6-inch line was not found during the engineering of this project or laying it out. So the Matthews Trenching actually found this line when they were doing work there at 24th and 76. So now we got to do something for it.
Make a motion to approve agenda item 9.
I'll second.
Motion second for approval of item number 9.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Marcy White? Carl Ness?
Yes. Item number 10, discussion of possible action on approval of agreement between Newcastle Public Works Authority and Wall Engineering LLC for professional services for the Tri-City Sewer Main Project.
The Tri-City Sewer Main is the line that is currently underneath I-44, runs east to west, that will be impacted by the new turnpike that's coming in, will have to be relocated. We have most of the easements that we need right now for this line to run south from Tri-City down to, where we'll go underneath the turnpike coming south. It'll turn back east right on the south side of Crew Tubing and then connect into the manhole out by 62. Larger line, we're talking about an 18-inch line that will run down through there, where the one under the turnpike now is a 10-inch. But this is just to get us going for Wall Engineering to go ahead and start their services out there on that. It's about 1.5 to 2 miles of line that will have to be engineered and then constructed. Cost for this is roughly $252,000 is what he has given us a quote for.
Do we get reimbursed back from Turnpike for that?
We will get a piece.
Well, not for the upgrade, right?
Well, and only so many feet of line that actually goes under 44.
Oh, okay.
Because they're not having to lay 1.5 miles, 2 miles of line, but.
Okay.
So we'll get a piece of that back, but not just a huge amount.
But we're getting
Part of the board, yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the board. And the good thing about doing it this way and relocating the board is we've now separated both sides of I-44, so that 10-inch line that's existing that runs along the casino and stuff there, it'll take the burden of everything at Tri-City off of that, so there's a potential It'll serve us for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Things on the east side, so that'll be good.
Yeah. Motion approved and unpaid.
Motion second for approval of item number 10.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 11, discussion of possible action on approval of development agreement between Newcastle Public Works Authority and Chickasaw Crossing LLC and Oklahoma Limited Liability Company for water distribution system improvement.
This is the agreement that council, authorized myself and the city attorney to work on with Chickasaw Crossings or, David Ash Homes, basically. And we got that done. I mean, there was a couple of things that they asked, to be changed on there. I ran those by the city attorney, and, he didn't have any issues with that. So it was a fairly simple, agreement to get prepared, and they have signed off on it already. And it's just asking that we sign off on it, providing a copy of it.
This doesn't actually, that doesn't mean we're gonna actually do that now. It's just the agreement that they will contribute when you do it, right?
They have 2 years to do their portion of this agreement.
Okay.
My understanding is they're already beginning the engineering for their piece of the water line on 24. That's what I heard yesterday. So.
Motion approved and unpaid.
I'll second.
Motion second for approval of item number 11.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl Nell.
Yes. Item number 12, discussion of possible action to authorize purchase of approximately 7,500 feet of materials for new water main construction on Southwest 24th between Twisted Oak and Ross Drive. State contract price from Central Oklahoma with Nelson Company.
And this is our portion of the water line, that we agreed to. We were gonna do this anyway, but it became a part of this agreement with, Chickasaw Crossings. I believe in my email to council last week, I think I had written the price at 360,000 roughly. And that price, as of this morning, has come down to $343,645. So, got some new updated pricing from the water superintendent this morning. Well, it went, yeah, and there were some things that he did not, proper numbers were not given to him last week. The main guy that he needed to speak with is on vacation. So the numbers that got quoted were not exactly correct.
Take it.
He spoke with the main man this morning, and this is where our price is at.
I like the main one, that's better. Do it. Motion approved and item 12.
Make a motion.
Sheridan.
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 12.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl Nell.
Yes.
And just to let everybody know, that money, or those materials will be paid for out of impact fees.
Okay.
Item number 13, monthly treasurer's report.
September, Mark's execution rate should be ideally at 25%, which means we're a quarter of the way through our new fiscal year. Revenues and expenses are both within our expected budget. Revenues are sitting at 25.5%, expenses are sitting at 26.3%. The capital improvement tax fund, the revenues there are also at 25%, and expenses are only at 12%. Of course, that goes in line with how we're running our projects, like our roads and bridges and lines for the most part. On the NPWA side of the house, revenues finished at 27.5%, and expenses finished at 27.1%. So they're only slightly ahead of where an ideal executed budget amount should be. The fire department tax fund brought in a little over $341,000. We have spent a little over $561,000. Our two OWRB projects going on. We paid 4 draws this FY. That makes 7 draws total. That makes our project total a little over $2.6 million. So hopefully we should be closing that one soon, or should be finishing up. For the new wastewater treatment facility, we have 3 draws this FY along with the 10 from last year. That totals our project expenditure at this point at over $24 million. Sales and use tax came in September at $857,000. $706,000 of that was for sales. $151,000 was for use. That means at the end of September, we are 0.2% below where we budgeted to be, where we were hoping to be. However, we are still higher than last year in the month of September by 1.2%. But if you compare month to month, we're 4% lower. So hopefully October looks up for us. I mean, well, we got October numbers. Hopefully November looks up. Our current indebtedness is a little over $40 million. Again, I always like to remind you that does include our 2 OWRBs that are in the construction phase. A quick rundown of our city fund balances. City fund, general fund is $1.8 million. Capital improvement tax fund is $2.4 million. Economic development tax fund is $35,000. Cemetery fund is, thank you. Cemetery fund is $44,000. Parks capital improvement fund is $176,000. Admin and technology is $228,000. Grant cost share is almost $2.6 million. Transportation impact fee fund is $70,000. City hall fund is still sitting at $24,000. On the NPWA side, public works is $2.2 million. Water impact fee sitting at $892,000. Wastewater impact fee is $864,000. Wastewater plant fund is $7.8 million. The meter fund is $242,000. All funds combined, we're a little over $19 million. Just in case you noticed that the water impact fees took a big hit, we did pay for the agreement with Home Creations or Farzana Development. It was to the tune of a little over $358,000. So, are there any questions for me? You have analysis? Sorry.
I don't want to do anything before she's talking.
I know, right? I was about to say, and when you're done, you can. I can't. I feel okay. I just got a call. Yeah. Bless your heart.
That's in a bubble.
Yeah.
Feel free to go home.
Yeah.
Item number 14, general manager's comments.
NPWA is working on several things, right? There's just a lot going on. The sewer plant is moving along rapidly. Still on track, I think, for an early completion the way it's looking. Again, we're looking at the Tri-City sewer line. We're also talking with Wall Engineering, right now we're asking for a proposal to engineer sewer line, pipe line and lift station down on Highway 9. We're also working with the school system on water lines and sewer lines at the high school during their new construction that they're doing over there now. They do have a water line. We actually met with the engineering firm and one representative from the school yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yesterday. I can't keep track of all those now, but met with them yesterday, and there are a lot of water lines running across the high school grounds property. There are about 10 meters, water meters across the high school grounds right now. I don't have any idea how it's all done back when.
Have an idea based on what you just said.
Yeah, but the problem that we have with all of this is there are no easements. There were never any easements granted to the city across high school property that can be found. The school has tried to find those as well, and mainly all of the lines that we're looking at are public lines. They're public water lines. So basically, right now we're going to deal with the main water line that they need to get constructed, and one little small piece they need to move over for construction of one of the new buildings, and they are working on the easement for that now. It runs from 130. It'll go up to the north, just outside of the football field on the east side. It'll run up to where basically the old ag barn is. That's how it runs now. They're working on that easement there, but then they'll also be doing a new water line that runs from that location toward the east, toward the new facility that they're building on the east side of the property that has to have a fire line attached to it as well as a service line. All of that will be new line. It will have to go through DEQ, and we'll also have to have an easement for that, and they're working on all of that. But to keep them moving on this project, we're just going to, right now, just going to deal with that piece of it. Our rathers are, we would rather move all the meters out to the right of way, out to the easements, let everything on the school property become private line. And then the city, all we have to deal with is 3 meters around, and that would be it.
Right.
However, due to cost, to the school, it's pretty exorbitant cost to do things that need to be done. And they just can't do it.
It wasn't in the bond.
It wasn't in the bond. So we're gonna do this one, this piece of it, and as the school moves forward with other pieces, after all this is done, we're going to have those conversations now before all of that gets started. Yeah. That any more funding that takes place, whatever else they're gonna do on that property, this needs to be corrected. Right. And get all the meters out to the right of way. Everything on the interior will become private lines for them to deal with.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want them to get clogged up.
Yes, sir. Item number 15, any trustee comments?
I have a question, and you may not be able to answer it now, but I got this question earlier today. State question 833. I didn't know what it was either. It's about making, I'm not going to say it wrong, so let me pull it up and tell you what it's called. And I don't know if it's something we want to make our citizens aware of, maybe by posting on the state page, or on our city page, I mean. It's authorized public infrastructure district. And I didn't even know about it. I'm like, how did this get to a state question, get signatures, and I never even heard about it. But, I mean, it's interesting. We may or may not ever do it, but it's definitely something that would affect us if it were to happen, because citizens can bring to the city a request to do one. So I think I'm going to bring it up because maybe we probably need to throw out some education, unbiased education on what it is, because people are going to get the polls and not even know what this is.
And I read a little bit on this, and I may have read it completely wrong, but it somewhat sounded like what the city can already do is creating a special assessment district.
Well, that's what, Gordon, he called about something else, right? And I said, well, you called it perfect time, and I said, it sounds like what the mayor was just talking about a couple of months ago when we were talking about that water issue. Very similar.
However, with the proposed state question, it would require the approval of every impacted individual within that district.
Then that was my question. I'm like, well, good luck getting that passed. But still, I mean, I think they're going to be few and far between, probably.
Yeah.
And I understood it, put the burden on the developer to do all the work.
Yeah, it's not something that the city would be spearheading.
No, not at all. So I just thought maybe we can put out just there's a voter guide. The voter guide has a synopsis. Maybe we need to put it out just so people know. But yeah, I don't know how often it would be used, to be honest. But since it was municipality, I thought it was quite interesting. I hadn't heard anything of it. I try to think that I keep myself a little bit in the loop, but that was out of the loop. So.
I believe that.
What'd you say?
Your Robert was there.
I just got Starlink orders today.
All right. Any other trustee comments? All right. Item number 16 is adjournment.
Make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Motion second for adjournment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Yeah, I got Starlink. If I go Starlink, I'm gonna take it camping.
This time I'll call the Tuesday, October 15th meeting in Newcastle City Council to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Carl Now,
Here.
Mike Fullerton,
Here.
Jean Reed, absent, Kimberly Sutton, absent, Marcy White. Here.
Item number 2, discussion on possible action on approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Motion second for approval of the agenda.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl Ness.
Yes. Item number 3, citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for any citizen to comment on any matter related to the city of Newcastle that is not on the agenda. I remind you, potential speakers, that all speakers shall clearly state their name and address for the record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person with only one speaking opportunity. Council members will not respond to comments or questions. The mayor may end comment period at his discretion, and prior authorization is required for distribution of materials or to approach the council. Is there any public comment concerning the city of Newcastle that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, move to item number 4, consent agenda. Is there any item any member of council would like to move from the consent agenda and address individually? Seeing none, item number 4, consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Motion second for approval of the consent agenda.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl Ness.
Yes. Might just point out there's a couple Hummers that are gonna be surplus on there if anybody's still on like they want to get all Rambo. Feel free to bid. Item number 5, discussion of possible action on any items removed from the consent agenda. No action on that agenda item. Item number 6, discussion of possible action on recommendations of the planning commission. Item 6A, public hearing, discussion of possible action to approve a use permit on review for a conditional use permit for oil and gas drilling and production, or total 100430-19-1 WHX for Deborah Brake Downey, Revocable Living Trust, Deborah Downey, trustee, or Jupiter LLC, located in the part of the east half and northwest quarter of section 31, township 10 north, Springs 4 west, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma. Property address 1/2 mile north of Highway 37 on Council Road, Newcastle, Oklahoma. Case on the UPOR 2024-001. Part of our program will experience technical difficulties in a short period of time.
My apologies for the delay. Sinead Greenlee with the Newcastle Planning Department. Just trying to go into this screen now that we there.
It's full screen.
It's
We'll give
full
it that.
screen.
Let the circle with that up there.
It's working.
Yeah, it is.
I had tested this. Oh, there we go. Magic. Good evening, council. As you stated, item 6A is the UPOR 2024-001 for the Downey property. It's the Warwick Jupiter UPOR for oil and gas drilling and production. As stated, Deborah Downey is the owner of this property. The aerial view, you can see the entirety of her property right here. This is where the pad site will be located. There's agriculture uses, single family uses to the west of the pad site, north of the pad site, and then south of the pad site. This is approximately about a 1/2 mile north of Highway 37. Pad site is west of North Council Road. The pad site is about 4.15 acres. A little bit of background. This UPOR came forward to council and was approved in, May of 2023. May 8th of 2023. So they had a year to begin their, drilling and production, 12 months according to Chapter 113, our oil and gas ordinance. They did not commence that ever, and so they are coming back with a new application. So I like to put this in our presentations. This gives just an update. It's a little diagram to show what our setback requirements are for oil and gas. It is 300 feet from the well bore to the adjacent property line, and it's 460 feet from the edge of the pad site to any protected use, and 660 feet from the well bore to any protected use. Those are the requirements of our setback. They're required to, part of the requirements of the application packet is to show all existing uses around their structures. So as you can see as the diagram on the left-hand side of your screen, from the edge of the pad site to the Morris house is over 1,000 feet. Same thing for the Neelam house. Barns are not considered protected uses because they're not inhabited. And then all the houses in protected uses are basically over 1,000 feet from the pad site. On the right side, this diagram depicts the requirement from the well bore to the edge of the surrounding property lines. And so you can see from the well bore to the north, 409 feet, 425 feet, 503 feet. So they're well within all of the required setbacks that I showed you on the previous screen. At Planning Commission, we had one neighbor, Mr. Engel, came and he had recently in this last year had built his house there. It is well over, it's like close to, this is his barn, his new house is up here. So it's like 1,500 feet away from the well bore. However, the Planning Commission had discussed this and listened to some of his concerns, and part of their motion and recommendation required a couple things, which they did meet with Mr. Engel and agreed to come up with some recommendations that are going to be brought forward and put in the UPOR. I'll just go through those real quickly. Use of hospital grade mufflers on any motors. Warwick has agreed to this. The motors be housed in sound abatement enclosures, which includes compressors and generators on the site. They've compromised to put up a 3-sided 16-foot sound wall around the compressor. They've also agreed on running a 3-phase electric line to the well site to avoid any use of generators, except as needed for backup or emergency purposes. And the production pump will not use a pump jack, but be a pneumatic cavity style or equivalent. We've explained to Mr. Engel the wellhead we intended to use, and he's happy with our plan. They'll be using their standard wellhead. If they ever have to use a pump jack, it will be on an electric unit. And then the last one, the exception to the production wall to be continued, subject to some addition per the discussions with Mr. Engel. I believe this is referring to the drilling and completion sound wall being on the west side of the pad and the first 100 feet along the north side. This can be discussed at City Council meeting. I can show you. So this is the entrance of the existing well road that they will be using this site off of North Council. And then this is a diagram of the well pad, the pad site itself, and showing the sound wall, the gate entrance that's required as part of their mitigation plan. These provisions are in a little bit more stringent than the previous UPOR. So it sounds like that they came to an agreement and I did get a copy of the signed agreement from Warwick with Mr. Engel. It should also be in your, council packet.
Janae,
Yes.
just one point.
Yes.
This says half mile north of 37.
It's on the west side, that's a mistake.
Typo, okay.
It's a typo. I corrected the first slide and I didn't know it said that on that slide. So,
Okay.
yes, it's on the west side
Right.
of North Council. My apologies for that typo there. Let's see. So, they submitted their sound study, they submitted their mitigation plan, their truck route, the fencing requirements. So all of the conditions of the UPOR for oil and gas, permit have been met. In addition with these, the agreement between, Warwick and, Mr. Engel. I'm happy to answer any questions. The applicant is here for additional questions as well. Staff supports and recommends approval of UPOR 2024-001, and Planning Commission recommended 4-0 with the conditions that I mentioned.
Any questions from council?
My main concern is the road itself, council, that's gonna be their main in and out with all the heavy equipment.
Yes, it is. It's the existing.
Just got it overlaid. Yeah. Not too long ago.
Yeah, I can't remember, a couple of years ago, maybe.
They will pay their yearly road use fee as well. But yeah, this oil lease road has been there prior
Yes.
to, yes.
Yes,
the
I'm talking about
the additional use, yeah, on council.
beating it up. We've been through that several years in a row on oil field roads, and I'm just worried about the damage that they're going to do on it. How we're gonna take care of it. How much are we receiving on our,
For the permit fees,
well, damage to the road?
it's a $2,000 a year road use fee that they have to pay. They pay the initial $15,000 fee for the oil and gas well itself, and the $2,000 road use fee. And then they yearly pay the road use fee and a inspection fee.
For overloaded trucks again, or heavy trucks. And we've just done probably, company out there, for a mile of road recently.
Probably 250 to 280.
Yeah.
Just for overlay.
Just for overload.
I will say on the west side of this side, if I go back, I can show you
County Line Road.
County Line Road and 40th Street, which is not a open section line right now. It's not used here.
But
The
it's a
road
gravel road or something.
is not able to be traversed. I mean, it right here, basically it ends, and is hence the name of Jungle Road.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
Is that the one just to the north of it?
That'll be the first number. So on the UPOR in 2023, what route was approved with that UPOR? Same route?
Yes.
It was?
Same route.
Cause I thought we had discussed County Line potentially, and I know the company at one point, had said, hey, we'll build the road into it, just gravel, whatever they needed to do. But I thought that was coming off the county line, cause that appears that the pad site is much closer to county line than it is council.
I will say that, so just in potentially future discussions and when I had with the applicant representative Ryan this afternoon, oil and gas, they sometimes sell and transfer permits, and we had
Sure.
a call from, from Four Point, Jeff Clark, that they were potentially looking at this site and asked if they would have to go back through if they did end up purchasing the site, to access through North County line on 40th, but coming through, from my understanding in my discussions with Kevin Hagerberg, that he wants to come through Mr. Engel's property and go north here and around this one parcel here with a single family house and access it like that. I don't know how, I have only been, you can kind of get through it over here. This is a huge, there's a ravine there. So I'm not sure how, what their plan is. That would be up to them, but there was discussion of that. And after looking at the, ordinance, I think that for something like that, if they wanted to completely change their truck route road, they would have to come back through the process, unless you wanted to conclude it that potentially included in as part of the UPR this evening. That would be up to the council. If they wanted to make an addition or that they should access from county line to 40th and around that way.
Is the interest, this access, is it before, as you're going north on Council, is it before you get to the S-curve on Council up north?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
way before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, it's a lot closer to point one.
Yeah.
It is, but however,
About that,
they are coming off of an existing road, which
right,
leaves them dealing with one landowner for both the access road and the pad, where they'd have to deal with both landowners to do it a different route.
right.
And so it makes it more difficult, if even impossible, maybe, if those other landowners don't want them to come across their property.
I'm just getting that, I'm just worried about us having to spend another
There is a road use fee we find we can apply for if need be through the state.
Right.
Oh, that's true.
But
I remember that, but I'm just.
But they've gotta have access. And, so all the ordinance, I believe, says it must be off the county road, or a section line road, not county.
I just know it's a limited funds that we can get access to.
Well, they're not gonna be going up very much of a go, right?
No, half mile.
Yeah.
Half mile of Council.
And safety purposes, I feel a lot more comfortable them entering and exiting Highway 37 at a signaling light rather than coming off county line.
That's true.
That,
But, I get that too.
Now, we did at one point, and I believe it was this one, correct me if I'm wrong, we had discussed on this that if at all possible, they needed to enter Council from the west on 37 and then make that northbound turn, because otherwise, if they were going westbound, they would have to swing out too far with the big rigs as they're building, or whatever that may be. They would have to swing out too wide on 37 to make the turn onto Council.
And Halo right there?
Yes.
It does say on part of that on the previous UPOR, oil and gas traffic will be routed coming from the west.
Yes.
On State Highway 37, then turning north.
Okay.
Onto Council Road. So you could keep that same provision to access the lease road to allow adequate turn radius for trucks on State Highway 37.
and I think,
Just like you said, we're concerned about that. Actually had some citizens concerned about the trucks swinging out and turning there, coming down the hill to that light and just being a bad place for that. And the applicant, and we thought it was wise to either come from the south or from the west.
Right.
And turn in there.
Right, we've got that in there, so
Yeah.
we'll just do all the provisions of previous UPOR. Is there any public comment concerning this agenda item? Okay. Entertain a motion?
Make motion to approve agenda item 6A.
We just previous UPR requirements plus those that were discussed this evening. Yes, ma'am.
I will, make a second on that.
Motion second for approval of item number 6A with conditions.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Thomas.
Yes. Item number 6B, public hearing discussion of possible action to approve a use permit on review for medical marijuana processors for Cheyenne Real Estate Acquisitions, Christina Bowers and Martin Hobbs, owners, and Smith, proposed tenant located in Northwest Quarter, Section 23, Township 9 North, Range 4 West, Indian Meridian, McLean County, Oklahoma, property address 708 South Main Street, Suite A, Newcastle, Oklahoma, UPR number 2024-002.
As you stated, this request is for a use permitted on review for a medical marijuana processor, UPR 2024-002. Cheyenne Real Estate Acquisitions LLC is the owner. Angela Pick is the tenant at 708 South Main Street. It is the shopping center here on the east side of South Main Street. It would be the last suite in this shopping center. It is all commercial uses surrounding it, and the future land use map is commercial, general commercial as well. The applicant is requesting a processor to, no extractions, and it's not open to the public. This is just a place where she can take, the original product and make it into, pre-rolls or, cartridges or other types of, processed, medical marijuana things. Products, thank you, thank you.
Things.
Whatever, stuff, yeah. There's no land use, amendment required with this application. Planning supports and recommends approval of UPR 2024-002. I'm happy to answer questions, and the applicant tenant is here as well for additional questions.
Are they taking the whole building?
Just the last suite, just this last suite in this shopping center.
There's a dog room there and
A dispensary
Bowers room.
right next to it, yeah.
Any public comment concerning this agenda item? Okay.
Motion to approve agenda item 6B.
I'll second.
Motion second for approval of item number 6B.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Thomas.
Yes. Item number 6C, public hearing discussion of possible action on adoption of an ordinance number 983, amending title 15, section 153.076 of the subdivision improvement standards by adding provisions relating to subdivision improvement and infrastructure inspection and establishing an inspection fee.
So item 60 is the ordinance amendment, chapter 154.076. So there's a typo. It's 153. My apologies. This is under our subdivision chapter for completion of improvements, for maintenance bonds, and establishing new language to have a percentage of the improvements. When they turn in a maintenance bond, percentage of the improvements to go for inspection fees. So the language in the green on your screen is all new language. Once the developer has completed all the infrastructure improvements prior to acceptance of these improvements by city council, improvement inspections are required, including water, sewer, paving, storm drainage. They all must be inspected by designated staff for compliance with the approved infrastructure construction plans for final plat. We have public works, streets, city engineer or designee, planning staff, all working on inspecting these improvements before they're accepted. So there's a lot of time that is spent doing these inspections. Right now, we are not being compensated or have any way of recouping any of that time that we spend completing these inspections, as well as the yearly maintenance bond inspections that we're completing for all the new private developments. Staff did some research on surrounding communities, and in your packet there is several different communities that all charge these inspection fees based on a percentage of the cost of the improvement or the maintenance bond that's submitted, and they range from a 1% to 1% to 2% to even 3% in some communities, as well as tiered fees based on the amount of the improvement. Staff has done this research, and looking at it, we believe that a 2% fee was adequate and would compensate for the time. We took it forward to Planning Commission and some discussion regarding the amount of fee and what's comparable to other cities. They suggested a 1% fee be assessed for Ag and E1 districts, and that a 2% fee be charged for all other zoning designations. So, and this is in your part of your staff report in your packet as well. So just for a quick comparison, the table on the left shows, for example, Windermere 7, what their water line, their sewer, the paving and drainage cost was with the 1% fee, would be $3,100 for the water line, $2,749 for the sewer, $7,835 for the paving and drainage, and then you can see the obviously the 2% fee for that. Same thing with Brush Creek. So that would be assessed before they would be able, once City Council approves the final plat, and then we have their pre-construction meeting through the development. So when they're completing the infrastructure, we are also going out there as well, not just when the infrastructure is completed, but throughout the development. So we also, on the right, did a department dedicated hours. The left column here is task hours. So like for pre-construction meeting, it's myself and one planner that attends that. So, and then the right is the man hours. And so you can see, and this is very approximate, I believe it's more, 296 hours are spent on just looking at improvement, the construction, and then do final inspection. So that can give you an idea of the hours spent, and then in comparison with the fee that would be charged. So we bring this forward to City Council for their approval, based on Planning Commission recommendation. Like I stated, it was the 1% for Ag and E1 districts and 2% for all other. Staff believes that the 2% fee is comparable to other cities within that we're comparable to in surrounding cities. I'm happy to answer any questions.
What's total?
Regarding this. Pardon?
What's total?
Tuttle was a, Tuttle was a,
What's on here? That's why I was curious.
what was it, 2%? Is that correct?
So somebody that
I did not print that. I did not print that out. I apologize.
somebody that's a product of the town across the river to the east.
Yeah, they had
Their
the
max
tier.
amount is $2,201,
Mm-hmm.
which would be basically anything over 100-some thousand that would max out.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said I don't want us to be taken advantage of, but I don't want us to also be the most expensive place to develop. I do think we need some type of fee to help compensate this, but I don't want us to be something that is significantly higher than Norman potentially.
Mhm.
My thoughts are if we're going to do a 2% across the board, I do think we need to have a maximum one at some point in time. Similar to what Norman has. Rather than having a very tiered process where it's very cumbersome to deal with, I would
Right.
prefer to just have a simplified process of maybe the 1% ag, 2% in the other, and max it out at some level. But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, that's how I was trying to calculate, and I don't know what hourly you put it in to figure out, or, I guess would you do hourly or do it cost per the?
Well, if you divide the total man hours,
Yeah,
the 296 hours, and then by the fee, you can kind of see what you would get, you know, as an hourly basis if you were wanting to look at that. And, you know, and discussions with, Kevin regarding this, you know, we don't have a utilities inspector right now. We're using the staff that we have to make sure that we get the job done.
right.
And so a lot of those other communities, have many infrastructure and utility inspectors. One just for water, several just for water, several just for sewer, several just for storm and, paving and drainage. And I totally understand and agree, and I would not want us to be any higher. I don't want development to go somewhere else because we have too many fees. We're wanting to make sure that we are comparable with other communities and what they're charging. There's been many times that developers have come to me and asked, what's your inspection fees? And I'm like, we don't have any right now, but
Yeah.
we will have some in the future
Working on it.
because most other communities, and it's in your packet, and I apologize for not printing out that
I've got
sheet,
it, yeah.
but it gives you a breakdown of what each community is charging right now for those inspection fees for infrastructure. And again, you know, this isn't just for the acceptance, it's from the time
Right.
of development
It's a long period of time.
all the way through. I mean,
That's what I was thinking.
we're dealing right now, I'm still dealing, you know, daily on like Newcastle Farms, we'll have, you know, something that we're looking at, or the silt fencing is down, or we have complaints from adjacent property owners that are getting,
Right.
silting in on their property, or the road's not constructed properly and somebody calls us. I mean, it's almost a daily thing for our department and other departments as well.
Is it our intention that maybe this will allow us at some point to increase that staffing because we're able to, I don't know if that was discussed or not, but I mean, I know you guys are.
That's what I
Can't
was
say we're
going
the
with that,
fastest
is
growing.
the
Yeah.
discussions with the city manager with the utilities superintendent as well as streets is this will go to the general fund and help support a position. And that was discussion as well at planning commission. They were fully vetted on, you know, we need to have staff to be able to complete these. And so we're not accepting any infrastructure that is not built to the plans.
And that's my thing, if that helps us get to that, where you guys aren't so overwhelmed, you can really study it harder, because the more work you have on you, the more it stretches you in what you do, so. That's for that.
You know, most of our improvements are gonna be in excess of $50,000, so all the gearing up to that really is not gonna be super applicable.
True.
Blanchard's 1% over 50. Moore's 1% over 50. Norman's 1.51 over 50, not to exceed $2,210. You know, so a lot of them are 1% over 50. And I anticipate most of these will be over 50. Now there are some that, Piedmont's a little bit more. I just think that if we're, you know, if that 1%, say, on a $1 million deal, 1% is 10,000. On a $1 million deal, at 2%, that's 20,000. That's twice as expensive for them to develop in Newcastle compared to Blanchard, or 10 times more expensive for them to develop in Newcastle than Norman. if they max out at $2,210. That's my concern, you know. You get larger improvements, and that really that gap starts to widen a whole lot about how much it's gonna cost, fee structure wise to develop in the city of Newcastle.
So you're saying even 1% can be high for some of the smaller ones?
Well, I mean, when
Smaller
Norman taps out at 2210, so that would be $220,000. That's their max. Anything above that doesn't get any more. Now, Chickasha doesn't have a cap, but they're at 1. Blanchard doesn't have a cap, but they're at 1. Mustang doesn't have a cap. They're at 1.5 over 200,000.
So, like on Chickasha, does that mean they don't assess it if it's under 50,000 then?
That's what it is.
Okay.
Hey, Yukon is 3%, one of them is 5.
Yeah,
I think
I
Yukon
It's off the flat 3,
is a flat 3%.
I kind of like the 1%.
Well, I don't want to, I like the 1%. I don't want to do anything like some of these Piedmont. I mean,
That's a lot.
they got 15 different levels you have to try to figure out. And even more, which it doesn't matter because, like I said, most of these improvements are going to be over 50,000. So once any gearing below that, really is not going to be super applicable. I mean, Piedmont even starts out at 100,000.
Right.
So.
Is it possible to do, well, I mean, kind of just like more, over 50,000, 10%. I don't need any other two.
I think so.
You know, keep it
Or
simple.
just do 50,000 across the board, and it's no matter what it is. 1%.
Right.
Charge that under or over 50,000.
Okay.
And possibly we figure out what this is doing and how this is working for our system, and then we may relook at it in the future. We may need to increase it. We may be fine.
Yeah. Maybe dip our toe in this way and then look at it.
I think we need to do something, but if we do it 1% that we don't cap, that's still a $10,000 fee for a $1 million improvement, which is still 4 to 5 times more what normally we charge them.
Yeah. So you're thinking just 1%, no matter.
I mean, that's what I think would be something good to start out with.
And then, but to cap it at, what do you think the cap is?
I don't know the.
No cap?
Well, I mean, if you want to cap it at say $10,000, I would have no problem with that. But
and Kevin, your line of thought on that, just because some of them get big enough where that it's going to take a whole lot of resources.
Kevin's line of thought is he wants it 18% no cap.
No. I agree with the flat 1% across the board, but I agree with no cap.
Because they can get really intense in labor intensive. Okay. I was just wondering your reasoning, and that makes sense. I don't disagree with that.
If you're building a couple $1 million or $2 million worth of improvements out there, it's going to take some work on the city's part.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but I mean, yes, we did talk about this, for potentially funding an inspector in the water department or funding positions potentially in planning, but here's kind of the thing too. This is a one-time fee. And building is, it ebbs and flows
right now.
So, there's no guarantee that what's pulled in from it, and nor do we want to make this a revenue stream constant to try to fund the position. It could aid in that, but it's not ever going to. I mean, it would be a long time before it actually funded a position constantly.
Right. I thought about that after I put it. I was like, well, what if it goes down? Sorry, you're done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not very
Now, if we were responsible for inspecting a new hospital coming in, once I send them a few billion, that may help them.
That's one of those, we don't need a permit, right?
I mean, I think 1% is a good place to start and see how it goes. And with no cap, I think that's. I think that's a fair thing across the board.
I'm good with that. Sure, make a motion for what we're at, hold on. To approve agenda item 6B with a 1%, fee with no minimum or cap at this point.
I'll second.
Motion and second for approval item number 6C, 1% with no cap.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Tom Allen?
Yes. Item 6D, discussion of possible action on adoption of the emergency clause, ordinance number 983.
Motion approved agenda item 6B.
Second.
Motion second for approval item number 6D.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Marcy White? Yes. Tom Allen?
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's right, I forgot. Yeah, all right.
We will, so have an emergency clause.
Good catch.
Oh, it's just for the emergency clause?
Yes, just the emergency clause, I forgot all about that. Item number 7, discussion of possible action to declare lighting at 2251 Ross Drive a public or private nuisance.
You're seeing you're awake over there, buddy. Good job.
We're on the $3 for painting.
That was a test you passed with flying colors.
Good evening, council. Regarding item 7, for discussion and possible action of declaring lighting at 2251 Ross Drive a public or private nuisance. This came before you council September 9th, 2024. Obviously, the staff and the complainant and the complainer were to work together to try to come up with some solutions. There is a memo in your agenda packet that has a diagram at the end of that staff report regarding light orientation and direction. It gives you where the previous orientation was, and in the dotted red dashed line, the current orientation in the blue, and the other one is a no change, the solid red line. Kevin Hagerberg, our senior planner, had met with the property owner, had been out there at night to observe the lights, to take a look at them and try to work with her, and also Miss Allen, who had brought this complaint forward regarding the lights, see if we could get some light orientation as well as some protective or shields on those lights to reduce the amount of light spillover. So what they came up with was the reorientation, and the lights are on the light shields are on back order and may not be available to the end of the year. So they're working on some progress to make the arena lights a little bit more not glaring and shining over on adjacent property owners. I'm happy to answer any additional questions. Really, this just comes to you to decide if it is a public or private nuisance regarding the lighting.
Just a question. How did it, with the number of horses and other animals or whatever is on the field, how did it?
So regarding that, and we did make a brief statement on that at the end of the number of horses reduced by the December 2024, but they also just brought in an application for a UPOR for confined stables on in ag. So they are going to come before Planning Commission for a request for that UPOR for stables, which allows them to reduce the lot area requirement for horses. It only pertains to horses. From my understanding, with discussions with our city attorney, with Jeff, it's cumulative. So the number of square feet dedicated to a horse or a cow or a sheep or a goat, you extract the number from, say they have 9 horses and we're going to allow them 2,000 square feet for those 9 horses because they're in stables. So the remaining of the square footage of their lot they could potentially have other animals, they could have, 2 cows and 5 sheep. That's from my understanding from some discussion today, but it still has to go through the process for the UPOR and will come before city council for approval for that.
Okay.
But they're working to reduce, they are taking off all of the cattle and all of the sheep and goats right now, and just are gonna have the horses until they get that approval. Like I said, look, says, okay, the end of October for, the sheep and goats and the steer. Then they'll come before, planning commission for that UPOR and then city council. It won't be till November for planning commission, and then December for city council for that UPOR for the stables. But this is just really regarding the lighting. We made that comment because that was also part of of the complaint, was the number of animals on the property.
And are we? You're gonna have to remind me on this. I didn't look through the codes and everything.
That's okay.
Is this being treated as a business in a sense?
No.
Not as a,
It's an allowed use in agriculture. It's the arena, their stable, not the confined stables is a special use through that UPOR process. If they have that, then that can potentially reduce the amount of lot area that they have to have per horse. Like right now, 70,000 square feet per horse.
Right.
Okay. So they want to apply for that UPOR so they can reduce the lot area that would be required as a stable. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, but I'm just trying to figure out
And it's
if
subject.
this is a business or is it a recreational?
Well, that's all a separate issue. We're just talking about the lighting issue tonight.
Right.
That's all something that will come forward, so.
Yeah, it will.
We'll not even.
But if they wanted to run an ag business there, they could. It's an ag.
It's unfair, I get it.
But anyway, the lighting is what we're dealing with right now, and that will be a separate issue. But they are working on that.
Alright. So, I see the orientation has been, some of them have been adjusted in the way they're pointing in, but they have all been pointed down, is that correct?
They're pointed down instead of, facing more out. But the shields, like I said, they are on back order. They haven't come in yet. Or if they get those light shields, it'll direct the light completely down. They changed that orientation as well to go more towards the west, I guess.
No change on the lighting on the barn, and there's the intention to shield the lights on the barn at some point when they get shielded in as well.
I believe that all of the lights will be shielded so they don't shine up or out. So the shield will only direct that light down. And they did put there's a light shield cut sheet attached in that memo as well.
Currently looking at
I did see that. So, is there any recommendation for staff on this issue?
Staff believes that the property owner, the Gills, have listened to council recommendation on shielding, reorienting the light, and changing the direction of the light. They have worked with our staff to try to make sure that they're not impacting the adjacent neighbors. We do not have an exterior residential lighting ordinance. I've mentioned before, I'd be hard pressed to find any community in this state that has a exterior lighting ordinance for residential properties. Of course, as I stated before, commercial lighting, commercial properties, that's completely different. This is a, agriculture property, and the arena is a loud use, the horses are a loud use. I feel that they've gone through the recommendations for council and are trying to meet those. So I would suggest that with those shields coming in, and since they are on back order, and if they put those shields on, that will significantly decrease that, I believe that staff would recommend that this not be declared a public nuisance.
Has there been any, I guess, movement on the lighting being, turned off at a certain time, or is it being left on? I know the complaints before that it's left on till midnight or after. Is there any, have we received any comments on that?
Haven't really too much. It was just during the summer hours that they were on later at night. I mean, we haven't really put any parameters again on a strict regulation on times that the lights should be shut off, due to the training of horses at night. But within the cooler weather, I understand in the obviously in the summer months, they're trying to do training at night when it's not, 115 degrees and running the horses. And I think that staff has had conversation with the guilds that they're not leaving them on all night. They don't just turn them on and then leave them on. They may be on till 10:30, 11, and maybe sometimes later, but they're conscious and aware of turning them off after they're done using them.
Kind of like we discussed last time, should this go either public or private nuisance, and the city want to litigate it, or it be something that then the private parties litigated in a civil matter? That'd be a very lengthy process. Since the applicant, or not the applicant, the owner has done some modification to lighting and has made a commitment, it appears, to obtain the shielding to help out further, then from my perspective, I think that there's movement that I think would maybe not make everybody as happy as they'd want to be, but help mitigate the issue to a certain degree. We'll take some public comment here in a minute as well, but kind of like we said, there is a right to use on, especially on ag land in Newcastle. It's just the most that can be done to ensure the quiet enjoyment of the neighbor of their properties as well. So, if we can find that happy medium where maybe not everybody's happy, but better than it was, that will hopefully be where we end up. Any other council comments? Any public comments? All right. Is there any public comment concerning this agenda item? Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Alicia Allen, and we live at 2325 Ross Drive, and we're the ones that basically are representing several neighbors that are being affected by this lighting. From the last meeting till now, I have not heard from Miss Janae. I've gotten one phone call back from Kevin, who explained to me that at the time we talked, that he could not get hold of the neighbors. I'm really interested in knowing when he was out there, because I would have liked to have shown him my house and the inside of my bedroom. Last month's meeting, we explained, that there's a 5-acre tract in between us, and that the lights on the arena are the ones that are affecting us, into our bedroom. Before the meeting last month, the lights were directed down right before the meeting. So they've not been moved since we talked to you guys last time. It's still impacting my house. I understand that the city attorney last time stressed that, they needed to get the shades on, and of course those haven't been installed. And I understand that they say they're on back order, but I'm just wondering if they've proved that they're on back order. basically the lights in the front of the barn and the back of the barn are affecting several neighbors. They shine down our road. I understand that it's zoned ag and they have a right to do what they want to do on that property to an extent. But I'm also asking you guys to take into consideration that Richland Park was built before this house was cut into the 5-acre tract and before this house was put in there. So I just wanted to let you guys know that first.
Thank you. I will note that, the city was provided a copy of the email from the lighting company indicating that those lights are on back order.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other public comment?
Jeff Begley, I live at 2210 South Highway 76, and I'm located to the west and the west-northwest of the property. And I will say that since the last month's meeting, that it seems that instead of leaving the lights on, sometimes from my perspective, days on end on the west side, they're now using lights just when they seem to be out there actually doing something, and they get shut off after them. So I'm definitely pleased with that. As far as the shades, obviously they don't have any yet. It used to be the one on the barn was the one that primarily hits my property. And now whatever rearrangement they might have done, there's actually more light coming my way than there used to be. But it's at less hours of the day or night, so I'm pleased with that part of it. So that's been, so hopefully I'm just would like those shades to affect the westbound lights as well. That's about all I want.
Okay. I see the owners here. You guys approach. I've got a couple questions and stuff. Clarification. So,
my name is Angelica Gill, and I am at 2251 South Lost Drive. And Mr. Kevin was out there maybe a week and a half ago. Don't recall the date. He was out there, and the gentleman that was there, he was helping us, and he did tilt the lights down, and it just shows the middle of the arena. That's how much light it is, just to the middle of the arena. So we do, like the gentleman just said, we do turn on the light that's behind our barn, because that's the one that helps us focus a little bit more light towards the other side of the arena. But like we said, the shields are in back order. We've been doing everything that's in our hands. I mean, that's out of our hands to get those shields in. But
do you think that you'll be utilizing the lights a little bit less now with cooler weather as well in the later hours?
oh yes, I mean, like I said, we can use them earlier in the summertime. I'm not gonna have my horses colicking or having extra expenses than what we have. So now, I mean, we use them earlier than we use them at a later night. So when we work the horses is more in the summertime and the later night. Now it's like around 9-10 that we've been using our lights, because it's not too hot and it's not too cold. But usually wintertime, it's very rare that we use the arena like we used to. It's too cold to be out there.
Too hot or too cold, no problem.
Either or. If it's too hot, we use them at night. But
Okay. All right. Well.
But I just want to recall that Mr. Kevin was out there.
Okay. And while he was there, he said there was an individual there adjusting the light.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think that's what reflected in his report was the adjustments that were made while he was on site.
Yeah, because those lights are just like in the middle of the arena. It's not lighting the whole arena.
Okay. Any other questions, Council?
Thank you.
Well, I wish the light shields were not on back order. I would love to see what impact that will have. I think it will help. It's not going to do away with the fact that there's lights on that are on poles that are it's gonna be bright, but hopefully it will take the glaring impact that it has on the neighbors. Based on the information that's been provided in the email, those are on back order.
So,
It's,
is this something we could, if needed, we could just have to get back on once that part's done or something?
we could either do that or we could schedule it for the December meeting. And that's up to council as what they would want to do, whether they.
Hopefully, when we need it, maybe we'll put it all together, but I don't know.
Which way would you like to see it done, Janelle?
I would like to give them the opportunity to, get the shields in and put the shields on. Hopefully they will be in on December and then staff can go out and evaluate. And, we can talk with both parties, but, as far as the shields go and the effect of those shields and what the impact that they'll have on reducing the light, I'd like us to take a look at it. But then if we think, or if we talk to Miss Allen and Miss Gill, and if it resolves it, and we can go from there and, can come back to council at that time and give you an update as far as an update on the lighting. But for tonight, I mean, as far as it being a public or private nuisance, I mean, my opinion is that it's more of a private nuisance. It's not a overall public nuisance.
Well, I think that's a good course of action, and hopefully that it will resolve itself to an extent that will make everybody, maybe not happy, but, at least, satisfied with the result. And, that'd be my recommendation as well. We wait till the shielding is in, see what impact that has, and we can address it and determine whether there's anything else that needs to be done at that point in time.
Just put it as an item for discussion, maybe in the January, city council meeting, so you can get through.
Or how about whenever the lighting.
Yeah, cause it might be, yes, cause they say December, but it could be the middle of January. I can also ask her, I mean, she did have and included the email from the lighting company. I'm not sure if she's looked at other lighting companies, and maybe that could be something that we ask her to do to see if there's any, other providers vendors that would have them in before then, but we'll work with her. As soon as they get the shields installed, we'll take a look at it, and then we can, have a discussion item when that's done.
Okay. That sounds good.
Half the world's in back order anyway.
You're right.
Maybe we'll get them in before the next sports drive.
Right.
All right.
I'll remember that.
Any other comments? There'll be no action on this agenda item. Item number 8, discussion of possible action on adoption of resolution number 2024-09, increasing solid waste removal fees.
Yeah. Basically the same thing as NPWA.
We're gonna make a motion to do an item 8.
I'll second.
Motion second for approval of item number 8.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Marcy White? Carl?
Yes. Item number 9, discussion of possible action on adoption of resolution number 2024-10, for adoption of updated multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan for Newcastle Public Schools and the city of Newcastle.
Council probably remembers that the hazard mitigation plan has to be updated, approved, and adopted every 5 years, has to be approved by FEMA. The Emergency Management Director, Donnie Sullivan, has been working with the state for the last few months, last year or so, a couple of years, and working on the update for this plan. That has all finally been done, and this plan is at FEMA waiting approval. And, we're at this point just needing council to adopt this plan. If there's any changes, any minor changes that are needed after adoption, and once FEMA approval comes back, those can easily be made according to the state and with no negative effects on it.
John, you gonna read the plan through?
I'm sorry?
You gonna read the whole plan?
He'll read that to you.
I will say, we condensed it from 323 pages down to about 200. So it's a lot.
Brutal. Never mind, we're good. You need a motion? I'll make a motion for agenda item 9, whatever Don said.
Motion, have a second?
Second.
Motion second for approval of item number 9.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Nancy White? Yes. Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 10, discussion of possible action on approval of agreement between the City of Newcastle, the Newcastle Public Works Authority, and the Newcastle All Sports Association for terms of use of the Newcastle Sports Complex.
Baseball and softball has been removed from the NASA programs out there. It's now just football, cheerleading, and soccer. Really, not even so much soccer, but so the only change to this agreement with NASA is to remove baseball and softball, as they have come under a new sports organization. So we modified the agreement to bring it before council.
Motion to approve agenda item 10.
Second.
Motion second for approval of agenda item number 10.
And this is the one,
Sorry.
that we wanna,
Well, both of them, is it not?
yeah,
Yeah, so both of these agreements call for $100,000 liability, is that correct?
right,
And state law allows 125.
right, cause usually the account is 195 for an individual claim.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming these are just kind of outdated, and they're
Okay.
just didn't update them.
Yeah, they were probably, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
So we need to let them know the change on the liability, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it should be paragraph 9, which is the insurance coverage, everything else is correct, the aggregate's up to $1,075,000 for property damage.
Okay.
Right now, with our current population, we're at 125.
Okay.
So we'll modify, so if council approves, just approve with the amendment to the liability amounts.
Okay, that's my recommendation.
I'll second that.
Motion second for approval of item number 10 as amended.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Nancy White? Yes. Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 11, discussion of possible action on approval of agreement between the City of Newcastle and Newcastle Public Works Authority and the Newcastle Youth Baseball and Softball Association for terms of use of the Newcastle Sports Complex.
Again, this is the exact same agreement that we have with NASA. The only change to this is it will be just baseball and softball on this, as well as the amendment to the liabilities as we talked about for the NASA agreement.
Okay, so make a motion for agenda item 11 for baseball and softball with the amendment to the liability to current. I just don't understand anything about this. Yeah. current bond.
I'll second.
Motion second for approval of item number 11 as amended.
Mike Fullerton?
Yes.
Nancy White? Yes. Carl Nell?
Yes. Item number 12, discussion of possible action authorizing city manager and city attorney to negotiate with property owners for the purpose of acquiring/purchasing additional easement to widen South May Avenue between Southeast 16th and Southeast 24th and to proceed with eminent domain process if reasonable agreements cannot be obtained.
Myself and Camille and the street superintendent have actually spoken with every property owner out there at some point on this. We've got, Camille has been able to get most of the property owners out there to agree with easement, to give us easement. But we do have about 3 property owners that are holding out and are wanting compensation. So we're asking for authorization from myself and the city attorney to negotiate hopefully a reasonable cost for easement out there. But if not, if we cannot reach that, and within a certain amount of time, we'd like to go ahead and proceed with eminent domain. We absolutely need to, if we're going to widen this road and build drainage properly, which it's drastically needed after seeing it this past week, then we're gonna have to get some extra easement out there one way or another to make this happen.
And it's unfortunate because, one of the individuals that is demanding this, refusing to provide us easement, is one that called me numerous times over the years, wanting us to pave this road.
Everybody wants.
But we can't pay it correctly because of this issue.
Is that between 16th and 24th?
Yep. And then we have the next mile between 24th and 32nd to bite off as the next trip. So that will get everything in that area paved, until you get over to Pennsylvania Avenue north of 32nd will not be paved. 32nd east of Penn to the dead end will not be paved, and southeast 40th Street between Santa Fe and Harvey Street will not be paved. So that limits will get our non-paved roads down significantly.
Okay, make a motion to approve agenda item 12.
I'll second.
Motion second for approval item number 12.
Mike Fullerton,
Yes.
Marcy White, yes, Carl.
Yes. Item number 13, discussion of possible action to approve purchase of a Continental 60-foot by 10-foot Astro Express pedestrian truss bridge, including design and engineering of abutments from Contact Engineering Solutions for Veterans Park Walking Trail.
When we extended the pond over here in Veterans Park, we actually cut away about 60 foot or so of walking trail that was done with grant funding that we received. So now we need a bridge to get across the pond. Either that or wade or swim or whatever. The problem that we actually have there right now is if anybody pulls up to the parking lot off of Garrett and wants to walk around that direction, access those picnic tables on the south side of that pond, they can't go that direction. They have to go all the way around to the north or all the way around to the south and come back to them. We spoke about this with Jeff, the city attorney, because we were weighing, whether or not we purchase a bridge and then we ask for proposals to get a company to come in and install it. Because the company here that sells it does not install, nor do they have installers. So do we go that route, or do we go the route of bidding the whole project out at one time? So we've been discussing this back and forth. Purcell went the route. They did one of these. They did it on a trail program, kind of like we have here. But they did a bridge included in their trail program. They actually purchased the bridge from this company, same company, and then they requested proposals, sent out requests for proposals to install. I think either way is legal. The bridge is roughly a little over $71,000. And then with the abutments and everything, it could go up as high as about, I believe it was about $86,000, with the engineering and everything of the abutments. Now Contact actually has engineers in-house. We've worked with the lady, you probably remember her name, I don't. Sarah. We worked with her when we did the small bridge over here. She actually came out to the site when our guys, our engineers that we had on staff at the time and street department were installing this little bitty bridge out here. She came out here and oversaw the project and supervised it. And she has said that she will do the same thing with this. We started to go the route with an engineering firm here in Oklahoma, have them do the bidding process for us and come out and monitor the project and this and that and whatever for $51,000 is what we got the quote back for. So we immediately scrapped that idea and said, no, we're not going to do that, and chose to present this to council to purchase the bridge outright, which is below $100,000 state requirements on bidding, and then request proposals to actually install, which is basically a service that does not require bidding. We think the entire project can probably be done for, approximately 180 to 190,000 total. We budgeted in this year's budget, we actually budgeted $183,000 for this project. So, you know, we may come close. Right now, the materials and things of that nature to actually get the bridge built, engineered and built, the abutments engineered, things that, we're looking at 4 to 6 months just to get that done. So by the time we are ready for installation, you know, another 6 months down the road, we may be closer to next year's budget than for the installation of this thing rather than in this year's budget. I wanted to have it up before Christmas, but Jeanette couldn't make it happen that quick, so.
It will look good.
I did try.
It will look good.
But anyway, that's kind of our plan. That's what we would like to do, to get this thing moving. Very, very nice bridge. I think I put a picture in the email that I sent to council. I tried to get one that I could print out. The one that she sent us, it wouldn't let me print.
Okay.
Wouldn't do anything. But it was the one she sent us a picture of that is the bridge we would get is actually in a park setting, and it's really a very nice structure. It's concrete deck and the whole nine. Go ahead.
These are the same bridges that Moore also uses.
Yes.
Most cities use this bridge company to design them to the bridges.
Yeah.
Haven't had one fall in yet, have we?
Not yet.
So much for
It's a good thing.
pretty backdrop, pretty scenery.
It is. That bridge comes as like a rustic color or you know, just red iron or whatever you want to call it. We think we're going to ask them to go ahead and paint it black before they ship it.
I wanted to match our new Highline wire poles in town.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's about that color.
Here's the discussion.
Alrighty. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve agenda item 13.
I'll second.
Motion second for approval of item number 13.
Mike Fullerton.
Yes.
Marcy White. Yes.
Yes. Item number 14, city manager's comment.
You have that many?
No, I don't. Actually. I don't have any comments.
Wow. Item number 15, council member comments. Since we're talking about the park, I just want to pose a question to our grants expert. Can you give us a quick update on the status of the pavilion in the park?
Can I do it from here, or you don't want to?
No, what's up here?
Well, I mean,
Absolutely.
it wouldn't be the same.
I should have just.
Next you get a blade plot sitting there on
You
that
cut
one.
Donnie a break, we're not cutting you one.
I know, Donnie.
Got the one break tonight.
We actually just got the agreement from the state last week with our the letter to proceed, with the exception of waiting for our archaeological study. We do not have that in hand. I should have that by the end of the week, first part of next week. But they did not find anything, so we will be good on that. We'll submit it to the state, national government, everybody else that wanted that study, and then shortly thereafter we would get our motion or our letter to proceed completely. So
Sounds like we may get to move forward, hopefully with
it's
engineering,
the engineering part of it.
and then maybe construction of the thing next late spring or maybe beginning of next budget year.
We'll have it for 26 season.
25, and this is the pavilion and restrooms. I mean,
Correct.
this is
Parking, correct.
the big, this is a big deal, guys. This will change the face of that. And
Yeah.
you get that bridge in, you get that, you get a fountain. I mean,
We've got a dadgum city going on.
it's really going to be impressive. And I'm
Got a
thinking
plan,
that.
I
actually.
know.
It's a real city.
This grant, just to remind you guys, it was 2.3 million.
2.3.
Yeah, dollar grant, so it was a substantial grant, so. That was
I mean, this is, Jeanette, Kevin, the whole crew done an amazing job working on this. It's not been easy. And as you know, it hasn't been a short process, but if we just keep going, we keep chipping away, and that park's going to continue over time to turn into the vision that we've got, that overall park plan is approved. So,
You want the other grant
Yep.
update?
Yeah, I was
Absolutely.
gonna ask.
Oh, please.
It's not, we started up here, I'm gonna bring it
I
down a little
know,
bit.
well, I've already been here.
We did not get the TAP grant, which would have done lighting and sidewalk down 10th Street to Country Club. We were not awarded that grant, so, that was the second time applying for it. I had asked, ODOT for an explanation of why that project wasn't selected. Is it ever gonna meet their criteria? Those kind of questions, our scoring and things like that, so, but we did not get that one.
I would like to see that when you get that reply.
Yeah, for our, population, they only awarded 4 grants for that, population, and 2 of them went to the same city, both at 1.2 million for each of those grants, and then 2 other cities got, similar size grants, so.
Can I ask which city?
Yeah.
Ponca City, I know got the 2, like, I've got the rest of them printed up in the office, but, so. Very sad.
What's the status of the ball?
It's still in limbo on whether, the National Park Service is gonna let us change that scope. And so, that wasn't even to go fully back to them until September, October, so they didn't even give me a timeline on what that would look like. So, we're just gonna wait on that one, and then we'll just continue to move forward on the pavilion day, so.
And we should have the bulk of the matching cost share for the pavilion grant already in our grant cost share fund.
Also, we have it.
So we don't have anything holding us up, hopefully moving forward.
Correct.
Until we get the bids and then.
That'll be nice.
But we'll see. I'm excited. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I can close my eyes and see it all now.
You just see it now.
It's gonna be amazing. And the parking, I mean, there's gonna be a huge parking lot up there as well. And so we'll have facilities there. That will be for our cross-country meets, that will be the headquarters of that. We'll have plenty of parking up there. We'll have the shelf, the pavilion, have the restroom facilities, which will be bigger than the ones we currently have on the splash pad. It'll be just amazing.
Sure.
Cool.
All right. Any other council member comments? Mine didn't stop nothing. Item number 16 is adjournment.
Second.
Motion second to adjournment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
You are opposed? Thanks very much. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah. Got that.